Welcome to Flip It Furniture. My name is Amy. This dresser has one of those hard tops that you see often on French provincial furniture. I'm not sure what the name of it is, but my challenge for this makeover is to keep the top and give this a feminine look. And this is just my base coat, so it looks pretty sloppy. I'm going to do all my blending on my next coat. Right now I'm just trying to cover up the Dixie Belle Boss. And when I do that, I like to sort of blend my lines, because whenever I leave just harsh lines one on top of the other, when it dries, it makes it really hard for me to blend. I don't know if that's the same for other people, but for me, I like to have it sort of blended a little bit at first. And as you just saw, I just pull my drawers out and put the color underneath, and then I pull them back in. If I was doing only one color, I would have just taken all my drawers out. But since I'm doing 4 colors, I'm gonna just pull my drawers out and then pull them back in. Because of the look that I'm going for, everything I do on one side of the dresser, I'm going to do the same on the other side. And I want to talk a little bit more about that top. Whenever I have a really nice top, especially the ones like this, usually they're kind of ugly, but if you can figure out how to make the bottom really nice, then it'll just go with that top. And those tops are great for kids' rooms, I've noticed, because when you do a painted top for a child's room, it's harder. They're using markers and pens and nail polish. You know, they can really get destroyed. But these tops, I don't know, you can spill anything on them and they will clean up. So I love to keep these tops and try to make it for a child's room. The last color I'm adding is called Cotton. And here we are. This is the front and it looks so sloppy, but no worries. We're gonna let all the magic happen now when we do our second coat. Now I'm putting on the mud puddle again on the bottom and I'm going to start my blending. So between the mud puddle and the tea rose, I'm going to keep that line wet with my water mister because it's going to make it really easy for us to blend. I was going back and forth about using blue with the brown and I thought that would be really great, but because I had just sold my pink piece, I wanted to replace it. So that was kind of the only reason I didn't go with a lighter blue and a couple shades of blue. But blue and the brown would have worked really nice together too. So I'm just going back and forth, feathering between my brown brush and my tea rose brush. I stop when I like it. Basically, there's no rules to blending. You just kind of stop when you think you should. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so if you think it looks good, more than likely it looks good. Somebody else will think so too. With that being said, not everybody is going to like your work because, like I said, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so you just have to kind of go with your gut with blending. And when you think it's finished, it's finished. I know I've said all that before, but I just think it's super important because I think a lot of people overthink blending. I think it's important to remind yourself that you're the boss of your own art. In here, I'm adding my second coat of pink champagne and I'm blending that down into tea rose. And here I'm adding my last color. That is the Dixie Belle Cotton. Cotton is the truest white. It is the brightest white, but it is also the hardest white to work with. because if you don't have a really nice primer underneath, it can almost seem like it's not going on all the way. It's almost like you can see through it. So you just have to be patient and kind of use a lot when you're using it. Use your water mister, because if you can get it on right, it is a really beautiful color. The fluff covers much nicer. I think it has more pigment in it, but this cotton, it's just so bright, and against the pink and against the brown, it's just really nice. And exactly how I painted this side of the dresser, I painted the other side as well. And this is how I did each of the sides of this dresser. I just pulled everything that I did it to the front, and I did exactly the same on the sides, but it was way easier because it's a flat surface and I didn't have to worry about drawers. One really tricky part of doing the sides of dressers is when you accidentally get some from the side back onto the front where you've already blended and it's probably already dried and done. So you do have to be really careful when you're painting so that it doesn't hit the fronts. Lucky enough for me, these colors are so close, being like brown and earthy pink. The tones are so close that when they did hit the front of the dresser, I was able to just kind of smudge it with my finger and it looked blended. So that worked out really good. The trick is catching the paint while it's still wet and not dried, because once it's dried, you pretty much have to go back in and just reblend it, which is kind of a, big ordeal. And I'm not worrying about getting it on the top because, like I said, you just go in with like a little wet wipe or a rag and it comes right off because it's water-based paint. Now for the handles, they've been slick stick for 24 hours, and I want to add tea rose to the 2 bottom ones, and I want to add cotton to the 2 top ones. I did a total of 2 coats, waiting for them to dry in between the coats. And to seal the paint on my handles, I'm using Dixie Belle's Gator Hide. It's just a great sealer. I'm not going to have to worry about the paint chipping off of the handles. And to seal the entire piece, I do 2 coats of Varathane's water-based polyurethane. It's such a relief to not have to seal the top since the top is already done. So it was really easy for me to seal the base. I really love this sealer. I don't have a lot of issues with it. Of course, you have to make sure that when you're sealing, you're covering the entire piece, because if you do miss spots, you can see them when it dries. So I always go in and do a second coat just in case I've missed a spot, but if you just take your time and make sure that you cover the entire front in the first time you do it, you shouldn't have any problems. And here it is, all finished. my husband, the first thing he said was, "Wow, it looks like Neapolitan ice cream." And I hadn't even thought of that, but it sure does. I replaced the old knobs and I added these ones. They're just class ones from Amazon. And then I kept the top and the bottom original handles, which I think was a great idea because it saved a lot of money and they still look really cute painted. So I think that keeping the brown top and using the pinks and then the crystal knobs and the brown on the bottom really pulled together sort of like a earthy glam look. It's definitely different, but I think it works. If you enjoy this video, please hit the like and subscribe button because that helps my channel to grow, and I'll see you next week.